thing is, the only difficulty really, only difficulty, is imagining that you're supposed to be doing something else, other than being a human being with the cascades of... Somebody else was talking about the oscillation between, self-flagellation, that's an extreme insufficiency. I'm so not enough, I'm going to beat myself up about it. Or that sense of magical inflation, I'm just...
Grandiosity.
I'm so,
Yeah.
I'm just like amazing. And, and either one, maybe it's true for a few seconds on either side, but what we see when we sit and watch our minds is the changing nature of all of these selves who appear and disappear. In the Zen practice, we do a vow at the end of every day of retreat, and it's called the Bodhisattva vow. Bodhisattva is a being who dedicates their life to help others. And the first phrase of that vow, it says, "Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save or take care for them all." So at first you just think, this is impossible, and you only think of all the beings out there, the oceans of suffering in Darfur or Tibet, or just the suffering beings on Skid Row, or any place that beings are suffering in their families or anywhere. But actually, there are many, many beings that inhabit our own consciousness, our own selves. And the shame one, the inflated, or the really cool one, or the, really cool, or the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the fixation on one identity, whether it's positive or negative, is the problem. And one of the things I like about Buddhist psychology is conceit. It doesn't mean getting just inflated and braggy the way we think of being conceited. Conceit is also feeling bad about yourself, because the conceit is being preoccupied with ourselves one way or the other. But there isn't shame about that. There's acknowledgement, the discovery. This is the teacher about how imprisoned we are in our sense of self. And so the investigation that we can begin to do is, what is the space before a thought about myself? And what's it like after I have a thought about myself? Let's say I think, I'm really enlightened. What follows that thought? Being aware of that. And what was the space before that thought? Or let's say there's a thought that comes, and you can do this deliberately. You can say, okay, I'm going to deliberately think this. I'm an unenlightened person. What was there before that thought? And then what's there after that thought? It's just a way to begin to play with how we create ourselves by fixating on these self-defining thoughts. Does that make sense? So you might enjoy that.
This self that we're imprisoned in, the unsatisfactory self or the satisfactory self, as Trudy was implying, it arises moment to moment, and then as it disappears, there's often a sense of great relief. Oh, thank God I don't have to be me. It's viewed as one of the mental toxins, that we're actually much more than that. Like, the ego structure has a certain function, it's part of being a human being, and it's part of relating, and it has some survival value and stuff like that, but there's parts of it where it really loves to be up or down, and the up one sort of secretly knows that the down one is there, and the down one can be so grandiose, like, I am the worst person on earth, like,